start solo, and welcome everyone to Cocktail Network Live. My name's Dean Cerneals. We have a very special guest on today, but first, my co-host, boom, there he is, Mr. Rob Husted.
Dean, thanks for having me, buddy. It's astounded that every time we do something like this, it seems like we always have some great news to share, and more importantly, a great guest coming.
Right. Yeah, you know what? The great news is just piling on itself at this point. Rob and I are doing all kinds of really cool things in the background, trying to prepare for the future. That's all I've got. Like, I don't want to give any more away. Yeah. So, did you have big news for us right now, Rob?
I think we should tease them with something, but at the end of the show.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll hang on to them. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Famous Flare bartender, moved to Vegas. We're going to get his whole story here today. Got into Flare, loved Flare, got into mixology, loved mixology. Now he's consulting. Again, we're going to get his whole story, ladies and gentlemen, as we go into One Drink With. And here he is, Mr. Mike Guzman, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. I'm so glad we've got this working, I think. You know, I just posted on Facebook while you were there, Mike, that I just can't get this technology straight, man. But we're getting it. We're getting it slowly but surely. So if anybody's out there in YouTube land, know that you can comment. Jump on the comments section here. I've got it lined up, and I'm ready and looking for your comments. If you have any questions for Mike, put a great big Q beside your question. Drop a Q and then your question, and we'd love to see you live, and we'll get your questions up for Mike, or just throw in your comments and stuff. All right? So, guys, I'm going to put the two of you on screen because you know what I neglected to do today?
Make a drink.
What's that?
I forget to make a drink. Yeah. So, I'm going to get you guys one drink with, and I don't have a drink.
Do that, I'm going to make mine, but talk briefly about it to buy you some time. How about that?
Very good. All right. So I'm going to let you and Mike carry the conversation, and I'll be back.
Perfect. So I just came back from the Miami Rum Congress down in Miami with over 60 different rums showcasing their spirits and some great seminars. And it was a great time. First day went great. It was a lot of work. It's a great event that Fetty puts on. And then the second day, right, maybe a half hour after the tasting start, just finished the first seminar, a water spout comes out of nowhere from the beach and just blows the tent over that everyone's under for the tastings. And it was, at the time, hectic as hell, but it was really cool seeing all the different brands coming together, holding down the tent, and then saving each other's bottles, helping each other. We got through it, and then we regrouped. We made a room downstairs, and everyone just helped everyone set up. And within an hour, it was like nothing ever happened, and all the booths were set up. But luckily, during all that chaos, Damian Williams, the ambassador from Plantation Rum, was fortunate enough to just say yes in the hectic of thing and gave me a bottle of the new Plantation Pineapple, Peat Pineapple. Brand
Smoky?
new. Comes out
the Smoky? Oh, you lucky son of a gun.
Yeah. I know. Waiting to see it come out. It comes out in April. But I'm going to pour the first glass and we'll enjoy this together. Mike, what are you drinking?
I'm so jealous. So I am actually on the rum train as well. I'm doing Ron Abuelo XO, neat, and I like to drink really dark beer in the winter. So I'm doing a Santa Fe Brewing Java Imperial Stout.
Nice. It seems like it's a perfect pairing, and I love that you went with one drink with ...
Yeah. I got one drink with you and one drink with Dean. I thought that was what we were doing here.
So it's still not two drinks, right? So you guys can hear me okay? All right.
Yeah, Gene, look good. Gene, what did you?
I was about to pour myself some whiskey, but decided I better not pour myself whiskey on rum day, apparently. So the only rum that I have is Sailor Jerry, and I know some of you rum guys out there are like, it's not rum or something, but oh shit, now it's all over me. Wow, what a day it has been, my friends. I better pour a little bit more this time. All right,
You
beautiful.
did
You
make
know what?
with Sailor
Sorry.
Jerry back in the day. Remember, right? With Coco Real and some toast, sprinkled nutmeg right on top. Right? What was that?
Yeah. I used to do Sailor Jerry spice rum. Well, I still do. Equal parts with Coco Real. Shake, 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 shake. Strain with a little bit of a small grater. Let's see if I have one here. So I would take one of these and grate some nutmeg on top of it. Of course, this makes all of my drinks just a little greater. And it tastes just like I call it a Caribbean eggnog. So, yeah. All right, look at
Love
that.
it.
We've got our first comment. Allison Scott says, "Hello, Dina Rob, looking handsome as ever." All right.
I think she's talking to us on that one.
Yeah, but don't forget, I missed this one first. She said, "Hey, Mike." So.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Hello to you.
Yeah. Allison is always out there watching. We've got a couple people out there. Hey, whoever the other person that is not Allison who's watching, drop a comment for us, all right? Love to have you guys here. So I am making myself a chocolate old-fashioned with Sailor Jerry spiced rum. Not going too far off of the beaten path today. Whoop. Cheers, gentlemen. Let's try to have a group cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Mike, thanks for joining us today. We love doing this. We're trying to get more consistent with it. I talked to Rob just briefly today. I said, "Guy, we got to get this thing down because we've been all over the place, and we were on the road to getting it down, and then Rob and I started having some brainstorming sessions, which are kind of bad. Oh, there must be a girl in the other room because we just lost Rob. So, there he is. We're already making fun of you, Rob. So anyway, we've been brainstorming, but we're back, and we're going to try to do this a bit more regularly. Certainly in April. We've got, I'll let Rob say who our next guest is in April at the end of the show. How's that? Is that right, Rob?
That's one of the surprises.
Yes, one of the surprises. Is the June thing your other surprise?
It is, but not just the June thing, what the June thing has turned into. Do you want to give away why it's in June, or are we going to wait on that?
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh.
When we cross that bridge, you decide. In the meantime, let's get to know Mike Guzman.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Mike. Rob and I have been talking like every day for the last 2 months now. So we were like, these brothership are going back and forth. Sorry to do that. Anyway, Rob.
No, it's fine. It sounds like it's a big surprise.
There's some big stuff coming there, Mike, and one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on the show today is because we're really hoping that you're going to be a big part of what Rob and I have been working on, building the rest of 2002, 2003, 4, 5, and beyond. And we're really hoping that you'll be a big part of it for us or with us. And we want the world to get to know Mike Guzman because we think you're flipping awesome.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Yeah, Rob, why don't you get the conversation started with Mike here, and I'm going to play with the camera stuff.
What I'd like to know is we've definitely known each other for a while, Mike. We've hung out, we drank. I think you beat me in NBA Jam by 1 point the last time I saw you. But what got you into bartending? And then tell us the story of what kind of bar it was, like your mindset at the time of what bartending was then to what you are now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been in the industry since pretty much soon as I could work. I mean, like, my first job ever was working at uh, a Burger King, and the moment a server job at this retirement home opened up, all my friends were like, "You got to jump. You have to try this. You have to come over here and work." And that was when I was 15, and literally didn't look back from then. I moved from there to this is all in small town called Sahuarita, Green Valley, Arizona. Started with there, and then I started working at a country club, and really loved it there. Worked as a busser. Really loved just being around people. Started doing a little bar backing here and there with the folks that were at the bar at this country club, and that's where I kind of like really started to love bartenders and being behind the bar. There was a gentleman named Gustavo that used to work at the Quail Creek Country Club in Green Valley, Arizona, and this guy, man, did everybody love him. I don't think there was a single person that walked into that place that didn't leave going like, man, I love Gustavo. And I think that was kind of like my first foray into like bartending and stuff like that. And he taught me some stuff, and I was just like, you know what, that's what I want to do. I love talking to people. I love meeting people, and that was where I was like, this is what I want to do. So, years later, I was working at the same place for a while. I got the opportunity to do a couple bar shifts here and there, really fell in love with it. Then I decided to move to Colorado. And one of the things I was like, you know what? I'm out here. I came out to Colorado to play music, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make my living on the side doing bartending. So I try to find a bunch of different places, try to find different jobs, worked at some different hotels, and then one day my buddies and I were at TGI Fridays, and there was we were just talking to them about the bar, and I've always wanted to learn flare and stuff like that, and they were like, why don't you apply? And I was like, okay. And back in 2000, I think it was 2009, when I first really started getting into bartending, there was a documentary on the Travel Channel. I think it was called like Search for the Best Bartender or the World's Best Bartender, something like that. But it covered, I think it was Legends that year in Las Vegas.
That had
So
that
all the
starred Toby Ellis, right? Tobin Ellis was the star
uh,
of.
I think it was Christian Delpesh. I think you're talking about the one on
it was
A&E.
yeah it was they yeah they it was oh it was all the guys. There was Christian, there was Rodrigo. Dario looked like a baby in that one. I think that was like one of his first comps in the States. And then, Robin and all of those, and I was like, man, that is so cool. So when I like got to the CJ Fridays and they were doing it, I was like, yeah, like I want to apply. So I went, got the hire to there, went through the whole TGI Fridays, which back in the day was a long, like it used to be 21 shifts, which anybody that's been in the bar industry knows, like 21 days without making tips is a long time.
That's a long
Like
time. That's a big investment.
yeah, it really is. A lot of times they'll take
But
the servers that
I don't
want
want
to
to,
move up.
if
Yeah.
you can, because a lot of people feel different ways for TGI Fridays, good and bad. But consistently, what I've talked to from people that worked at TGI Fridays is the training is freaking incredible. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I haven't worked for them in a long time, but one of the things I always told people was if I saw TGI Fridays on a resume, like I'm definitely gonna look at this bartender a couple of times. Um,
Right.
they one of the things that they do is they have uh their recertification to be a bartender every year is the bar wars, which is literally it's everything you need to be a bartender. It's a speed competition, a pour competition, a flair part of it, and a knowledge part of it. So like to recertify as a bartender, you have to be proficient in all of those spots. So like that was one of the things is like if I'm hiring somebody from TGI Fridays, I know that they have to be able to do all those four things in order to be behind the bar.
Yeah.
So
Those.
that's why I have a soft spot for people that work at TGI Fridays, because I
Right.
know I know what they have to go through to like training and this recertification every year, because it just keeps you up on your chops.
Right. Those competitions actually started back in 1986. I've been doing some research and chatting with. I just had a really cool conversation with John Mezcal, who was the very first Flare bartender in Fridays. And he told me about how these competitions started. But yeah, the training at Fridays, when I was first cutting my teeth in bartending, this is the mid 90s, Fridays, the bartenders were just like, you talk to a Fridays bartender, they were the shit, you know?
Yeah.
So how's that changed now, do you think, 20-something years later?
You know, it's one of those things where I think some people, like, especially nowadays, I think people get complacent, and it like behind the bar, and they don't want to really, reach out to other aspects of the bar. They don't want to work on their speed. They don't want to work on their craft. They don't want to work on their flair. And that's one of those things that I would like to see more happen. One of the things I always say is, like, when you're behind a bar, and honestly, one of the things TGI Fridays taught me is when you're behind the bar, you're on stage. Like, you are the center of attention. People are sitting at your bar looking at you. And I think we forget about that sometimes. We go out there where, you have a bad day, so you bring that behind the bar. And that really just pushes off to the guests that are behind the bar with you, or at the bar with you. And I feel like we've kind of, gotten away. I think that there's a lot of really good that's come in the bar industry. And I think we're starting to refocus on that and refocus on taking back that hospitality and really, being those, rock stars behind the bar again.
Right.
But I think that kind of waned there for a little bit. But now we're starting to see it come back. And I think that's good because, after the last 2 years, we need that. Like, sometimes you need not just to go have a drink, but you need a little escape from everything else.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds to just throw in. Anybody who's watching on YouTube live right now, please go into the comments, drop questions in, put a big Q beside the question, and Mike Guzman will be able to answer these questions live on the screen for us today. So go into the comments and join us on the screen. Sorry to interrupt you like that, Mike. All right. So, all right, so we got talking about Fridays. What was next?
So yeah, after that, worked some other places, Dave and Buster's, things like that. The biggest thing, then once I was at TGI Fridays, I met one of my best friends, Brad Kaplan. Me and him started
Yeah.
5280 Flair out in Denver. This was back
280.
about 2010.
Sorry, 280
5280
Flair,
Flair.
you said? And this is
5280,
Brad Kaplan. You want to give
5,280.
us a little background
Yep.
on Brad Kaplan?
Brad Kaplan, another big guy out here in Colorado in the industry. He was a multi TGI Fridays world finalist. So he was the one that kind of really mentored me into not just flair but bartending and all that stuff. I went to my first cocktail competition with him at this tiny little basement bar in Colorado. So I helped him make some cocktails when I was there. It was my first competition, but it wasn't my competition. It was his. But yeah, don't tell him he didn't win. He didn't win, so it doesn't matter.
You guys started a competition
What was that?
together called King of the Mountain, if I remember.
Yeah. So we started off. Yeah. So we started. So after that, that's when I took off like big time in flair, and I wanted to keep competing and doing all this stuff. So me and him traveled to a bunch of different competitions. Like we went to Zero Gravity in Omaha, and we decided we wanted to throw some too. So it started off with the High Altitude Flare Challenge at Haters back in I think 2010.
Wow.
And then then we did King of the Mountain, which was our big one. And we did about 8 different competitions, and then we did before I left the last competition I did with him. As I was leaving to move to Vegas was Solar Flare, and that was one of the largest competitions that we've had in the United States in years.
Dude, that was
We had
huge.
over
Amazing.
yeah, we had over 50 competitors from all over the world, and honestly, I think it's the most amount of world champions we've had together in probably 15 years.
And
Like
that was one of the
we
early
had all
that?
the. That was in
California.
Irvine, California, in 2013.
Of live streaming too. Like we live streamed that comp through flarebar.com,
Yeah.
and it was like, yeah, you guys put on an amazing comp. And the cool thing I loved about it wasn't just a comp. It was like 3 days of events. Like I think Rodrigo and someone else put a master class first day. Like you want to talk about the event all going on?
Yeah, so we did so Rodrigo and Flareless put on a class. It was technically 2 comps in one, because we did the Solar Flare comp, and then we also did Flare Fearless comp as well. So it was 2 comps kind of mashed together. But the whole week we had it was a whole seminar. I mean, they probably had like 50 plus students. And the guest teachers were just insane. It was Rodrigo Delpes, Sabine, Tomek, Malik, and I mean, who else? I think Luca was there.
Luca Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was insane. It was probably the greatest comp that the greatest masterclass I've done, gotten to be a part of. Learned so much. Like it's so hard to take that much information, but it was absolutely insane. But yeah, it was a bunch of days of that. There was a bunch of yard days by the beach.
What kind of things were they teaching at the seminar that you took the most out of? I don't imagine they were just teaching a flare move after a flare move. What was it that really resonates in you of why it was such a great training?
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot from the instructors themselves, like teaching us a lot of moves that we honestly weren't kind of used to in the States, because this is the time where the European bartenders were just cornering the market on just really original and creative moves, and really being able to move with their moves. So we got to learn a lot about that. The WFA was also a large part of it. So we got to learn their grading system and how they, what they look for each level. So there was a lot to take from it. It was a huge learning experience for sure.
And the WFA, that's the World Flare Association out of England and Europe, right?
Correct. Yep.
So what was different about their judging that this was a competition? Sorry, where was the competition?
The competition was in Irvine, California.
Okay, yeah, and they were using the WFA rules, which are kind of not used very often here in the States, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the time, the rules were, pretty similar. There was a little little intricacies, as far as, where they look, a lot of they look for a lot more choreographed, move, routines, stuff that really flowed well.
Gotcha.
And one of the biggest things that I learned when I was competing, from these European bartenders is if you miss a move, you don't go back and do it. You just don't, because it moves. We're used to we miss a move and we're like, man, that's my favorite move. I gotta go back and hit it. But everything that they do is so synced to their music, and everything is so timed out that if you miss that move, you don't go back and do it. You just keep going, or else you're gonna miss all the rest of your cues.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just some little things like that.
And I'll be the first to say it, and spear me, crucify me, whatever, but it seemed like the WFBA, the heart of it was copy and paste of the FBA. But one thing I respect about the WFA is they were pushing to take it to the next level. And that was really cool to see. Just like you said, entertainment, bringing all the stuff that needed to be exposed and promoted correctly, they were starting to do, which was really cool to see. What were your thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I never got to really to do a ton of FBA comps. When I first started, the FBA was kind of on their way down, and they stopped doing they stopped being the big promoters for a lot of the comps. Right. I think the comps that we did in the competitions we did in Denver, I think 2 of them were FBA comps, and then the rest were just our rules and stuff like that. And I think we only did 1 or 2 with the WFA. But I mean, it's good to have some type of like governing body. Like they were definitely a lot better when there was like that grand prize, like that grand champion, uh, you know, like what you were trying to go to. Because it came down as the more comps you went to, the more chances you got to get that. And when that kind of started to fizzle out, then it was a little bit, it just came down to who wants to come see their friends, who
Yeah.
wants to come get out of town and come see each other. So when it
Right.
comes to the WFA and the FBA, it was, but by the time like we started running our comps, they weren't doing as much. I mean, the WFA still continues to this day to do a ton of stuff, but that's in Europe, and it's hard to get people to travel across the pond to come out.
And
It,
where's the FBA now then?
good
Good
question.
question. That is a good
With that,
question.
from what
That's it, right?
I remember, the WFBA had a pro tour. The WFA had something similar, but one thing that separated them, which I was really, and I don't know that much about it. So Mike, I'm hoping you do, and you can kind of fill in the blanks. Is the level testing and the colors, and they were doing something with like a yellow and an orange comp, or training or
Yeah.
pins or something. You know anything about that, Mike? Because I know very little about that. I'd love to learn more.
Honestly, that is the one thing that that separated the WFA for a long time from the FBA. And that goes back to what I was saying about wanting to be better. Like they had their whole grading system, and they still do it to this day. Is based off of basically a whole like tests. So each level you have certain things you need to test on. So there's like a speed round, there's a pour round, there's a working in an exhibition flare round where you don't have to do like a full routine, but like there's certain moves that as a certain level, you like, if you're orange, yellow, white, green, purple, like if you're at one of whatever level you are, you should be able to do all that stuff. You should be able to make these cocktails in a certain amount of time. You should be able to do these certain exhibition. You should be able to do these certain um, working flare moves. So that's one thing that I've always found really cool is they're like the more you can train yourself, the more you can put into your craft. Like it doesn't hurt. So like when they're doing these grading systems, it's really cool. And like I think people just really want to keep going and pushing and pushing and pushing. It got really tough for us to do stuff here in the States because you have to have a certified trainer. So like some events that the WFA were part of, like the one that we did, Solar Flare, we did have a grading part of it. So we had people there that would do the grading for you, so you can get your tin. But the other thing that they do is they have, so you can only reach a certain level with the grading, and then all the other ones you get by winning competitions. So you'll get like certain color tins for placing in certain competitions, and then you'll get some for winning. So like if you were to win like a Grand Slam competition, which is I think like it's the ones that lead up to Roadhouse at the end of the year. If you win one of those, then you get like a black tin, and that's one of the highest ones that you can get, and that basically means that you are the best. You are at that peak level. So like everybody's always like trying to get to that point. And like I said, it was kind of like what the FBA did when you had, the ranking systems because you're always trying to move up, trying to move up, trying to move up. I mean, shit, you can't even get on a freaking Peloton right now without, looking on the side and there's a ranking system and people are just like, oh, I gotta get to the top. So it just gives everybody opportunity to like really want to push themselves. So it was that the grading system was one of the coolest things about competing and doing stuff in the WFA.
Awesome. And then, so let's just put this in perspective. So you had Solar Flare, and in my opinion, what you and Brad put together, which to recap was an amazing freaking comp. You had so much talent, but not only so much talent, so much global talent, all there for the same reason, and kicking ass and education, live stream, like it was almost like a pinnacle. And then shortly after that, everything dropped off with Flare. But why? In your opinion, what was the downfall of Flair, and what happened between that competition and the one you're doing now?
Well, I don't think it was as like as big of a drop. There's been a ton of competitions over the last couple of years. Rodrigo and Vahe with Ace Flare Studios have put on some amazing comps, and it's been like they still keeping it alive, still bringing out some people. I think a couple of things is just one, um, the WFA changed their whole structure a couple years ago, uh, and that kind of changed some things. You don't see any more, WFA competitions in the United States. The FEA wasn't doing anything anymore, and then like uh, one of the Vegas started just hiring people. You know, the Derek Stevens from the D. He bought the D. He bought Golden Gate. He started bringing more and more Flare bartenders. Like everybody started going there. Fuel Bar opened up. Mike, like created one of the coolest. Like I don't if you've never been to a Fuel Bar, it's like literally like a 30-seat bar, and it's a party every time. I mean, I can't think of how many competitions, we've gone to, and they like we get done with the competition and there's like 70 people packed in this tiny little bar, like literally just flowing out the sides. So there was a lot of opportunity where a lot of people started like wanting to do this for a living, and I was one of them. So I moved to Las Vegas and started working 8 hours, 8 hours a day, then trying to put another 5 to 8 hours in the garage when I'm off. And it just got kind of hard. You got to work. You have to have that work life balance, and just after a couple of years, it gets hard to do all of it, and just people start moving out of positions, out of jobs, out of into different parts of the industry or whatnot. So everything just kind of declined and kind of declined, and then the big thing is that craft cocktails boomed like it out in the um, early 20 between 2000 and now the craft cocktail scene went insane. And for us, like people that are organizing comps, it got a lot harder to get money to throw these competitions, because before I could just be like, hey, we want to throw a competition, we want you as a sponsor, and they'd be like, all right, cool, here's money, let's make it happen. But after a while it became a thing where we couldn't get money because we weren't bringing anything to the craft world. And that's what these sponsors wanted to see. All these liquor sponsors, all these mixer sponsors, they're like, well, yeah, you guys can get up there and you can juggle a ton of bottles, but can you guys make a drink? Because I love the joke. I mean, the joke that we've all heard forever is like, you know, Flair bartenders, they can't make a drink. Like,
That's been the conversation since the very beginning, right? We've talked about that. Like, I remember judging competitions in Vegas I can't remember the name of the bar, but for so long, the bartenders will make these big drinks and whatnot, but can he make a drink? So it's been a big part, and I think that's one of the downfalls of Flair bartending is that we never stop to learn how to make a drink.
Yeah, in my opinion. Go ahead, Mike. I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Rob. You're good.
There's definitely more than one reason for the downfall slope of everything. But one thing I think we can all agree on, which we've all touched on, was when 2008 hit, and like you just said, the money came out for sponsorship, and money was really tight. Well, then it came to, instead of just writing checks, like, oh, it's a Flair comp, done, we'll write checks. It came down to, well, let's see where this money's going. What's the real return on investment? And then they started looking like, well, fuck, they're doing what? And this and that. They're not selling our product. There was a lot of factors. But when we were making, and I'll say it, like back in the day, we didn't know any different. We were making shit cocktails. They couldn't sell those cocktails. There was no added value to that. So I'm with you on the whole looking back at it now. And when I have my many different hats in this industry, but when I have my organizer hat on and I'm like, sponsors, what do you want? Oh, we want great cocktails that we can replicate and sell. They wanted those good cocktails. So that's when craft came back into it. And then when we started pushing that again, those sponsorship dollars starting to come out again to do more comps. Yeah. At least for Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, no, that's exactly where it was. And it's a funny thing because I know that, as flair bartenders, we love getting on there. We love having, we love putting on the show. But it was eye opening in a lot of places because they're like, no, we don't really want to sponsor anything like that. That's not what we're looking for. But then you say, hey, what if we make a mix some cocktails? They're like, oh, I'm listening. And they
Right.
but it's also so it's for me it was kind of like I've actually been saying this for a very long time because getting to compete in Europe, even over the last like 10 years or so, the competitions that they do there require like a cocktail. In almost every WFA comp that I've competed in, you had to put some type of cocktail down. Like I remember competing in Cancun a couple years ago,
Right.
um, and there was two
Do those
flair judges
cocktails
and
get
two
judged?
yeah, there was
Yeah.
cocktail judges. Yeah, I mean, some of the other competitions, like you watch people go on there, and you know, um, they're making real cocktails. Like they're taking
Right,
like
right.
everything's
And
coming.
there's
Like people have
judges
nice
judging it to make
presentation
sure it's
and
done
stuff like that.
well and that it's
Yeah,
balanced and that it tastes good, right?
but they also they also too with the Europeans is a lot of them go on to compete in like the IBA or the Pan American competitions where you have to do that. You have to do flair and you have to do flair and you have to make a cocktail because it's going to get judged. We have Shake It Up here in the U.S., which is part of the USBG. It's their competition and it's the same thing. But that's where they get all this money to do these events because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a bunch of bottles around, but I'm gonna flip your bottles. I'm going to put your product in this cocktail, and I'm gonna showcase not only what I can do personally, but what your product can do in a cocktail. And that's where everything kind of shifted. Now that's where we're trying to get
Right,
money. Like we're gearing up for a competition that we're gonna throw here in Colorado before I leave again.
right.
And that was talking to these sponsors. We told them what our game plan was, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've never got a faster yes in my entire career.
Wow.
Every competition we have ever thrown, I have never got like literally. I said, "Hey, this is the plan. This is the style of competition we're throwing," and they literally like, "What do you need? Done." And I
Why
was
was
like,
it
"I went like,
faster this year? Why was it faster now compared to the competitions in the past?
Great question.
well, I think it's kind of twofold. I think one, what we're trying to do, have this entertainment, have this fun, bring like this fun to the bar is something we need right now. After
Right.
two
Just
years of
because of
literally
the
not being,
timing of it, yeah, the COVID,
yeah,
all
I
that.
mean, like, hey, you get to come out, have some really great cocktails. You know, most of the times when we do these kind of things, some of these drinks will be on menus. Um, and it's like, yeah, you get to come out, have some fun, have some entertainment.
Right,
And then the other part of it is that's what these brands look for. It's like they want to be able to be like, look, man, like that's my product on there, and this is a
right.
really unique way that you can use our product. I mean, it's hard to, it's, if I was, a brand rep, it's hard to say, hey, I just got 15 new cocktails I can, play around with.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, it's like you're the one that's sponsoring it. Absolutely. Let me show you 15 bartenders doing 15 different cocktails and
Right.
how your product can be a little bit different than each one of them.
So, Mike, on that tailcoat right there, what you just said, do me a favor, put your organizer cap on right now, and you're talking to 40 competitors right now that want to sign up for your next competition, King of the Mountain, and you're going to tell them why they should sign up, but more importantly, what's expected of them to make the sponsors throw down money again to pay for all this to do another event in future.
Well, first and foremost, to everybody, um, you can do these comps. Like these comps, they are not just to test you as a flair bartender, but to test you as just a bartender. Like I know that every single person that enters these comps can make drinks. I know that. I've met pretty much every bartender that is like competed over the last in the United States in the last like 10 years. And I know how great of bartenders. I've sat at many of their bars. So like that's one thing is like don't discount yourself to say, hey, I can't, make a cocktail. One of the things that, it isn't like be learning how to do craft cocktails and mixology doesn't take anything more than putting time to do some studying, learn about the products, learn how to use the products, do a little research. It doesn't take that much to do. Um, you'll put the time and effort into the flair, but on the other side, part of being a good bartender is hitting all those spots. Do great flair, but in the end, don't forget you're a bartender. You have to make a good drink at the end.
Yeah. We've got a
That's
couple of
that's
questions.
really what it comes down to.
We've got a
Yeah.
couple of questions coming in from YouTube. I'm going to drop this one down. Allison Scott stirring the pot for us. Mike, what do you say to the part of the community that says, forget the good drinks, can't we just flair in a competition?
I think I just kind of I said that a little bit.
Right.
We're bartenders. Like, I
Right.
if I came up to your bar and you juggled 6 bottles and then you left, didn't make me a drink, then I was like, well, what was the point of that?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
but that's the thing is like I said, I know a lot of people that competed. I know they can make good drinks, and one thing
Right.
I think a lot of people kind of get kind of carried away, and I always give this advice since I've been judging to competitors, is they want to put like eight things in their cocktail. They want to do an 8-step cocktail. I'm like, if this is a tiki competition, then yeah, dude, I totally get it. But if you're on stage, a Negroni has 3 ingredients. Like that's
Right.
it. That's all you need. It's like you can make an excellent cocktail with not a ton of stuff. Like, we're asking for good drinks coming out at the end. They can be as creative, unique as you want, but keep that in mind when you're building routines and things like that. So, the people that I think that are, don't want to do the craft things, there's ways to make it happen. Like,
Right.
we when we design rules, we try our best to just design them with both of those aspects in mind. Like, we want to see a good drink, but we want to see some cool flair. Like, I'm not gonna, there was one competition that we they were a sponsor. They gave us the money for the competition, but their bottles were literally triangular and heavy. They were like, they no joke, were like bricks, and like we had to use them as a sponsor.
Was it
Uh,
Taiku by any chance?
and
Curious.
what's that?
Was it Taiku by any chance? I'm just curious.
No, Taiku
Taiku.
wasn't even the
Oh,
worst thing.
because
That's
the
not even the
way
worst thing I flared. It was it
you
was called
talked
it
to
was called
everybody,
Arta.
amazing.
It was Arta Tequila. I think they've since changed their bottle, but it literally it wasn't like an equalateral triangle either. It was like an isosceles triangle. So like you couldn't. It was the worst bottle that we ever had to flare. And I feel so sorry for everybody that had to flare that bottle, but you know we did it. We competed. Everybody competed. They did a great job with it. Um,
Right.
but
But
yeah,
Mike,
when it kind of like
put this in perspective. When we're behind the bar and a guest walks to our station, they order a drink, we have to make a cocktail with that drink, regardless if it's Chambord or if it's this or that. We're making that cocktail. So when it's seeing as a bartending comp, like to even show how much of a better a bartender you are, that I can entertain you with not just Malibu bottles, but I can entertain you with anything behind the bar and make a good quality cocktail. Done. That shows that that bartender is that much more qualified and put that much more time in to do something. The most challenging bottle I ever had to do was Chambord, and I treated it like a basketball, and it was crazy, but we made it work. And that's what a good bartender should do.
yeah, and see, and that's honestly that's the one thing that um, personally I push to a lot of people in these competitions is when you go up there, you don't have to do just bottle and tin flair. I think everybody's used to this flair bartending,
Right.
tons of bottles, tons of tins. It's like we're bartenders. There's tons of other tools. There's scoops, there's ice, there's jiggers, there's spoons. Shit. I always joke. I would flare a POS system if it wasn't bolted down. Like it, like
You're right.
there's there's all kinds of stuff that we have to our disposal behind the bar. And what, especially with these competitions now, is that's what we're looking for. That's what we want to see. We want to see you get creative, get unique, man. Um, I had a whole icing my tin sequence that I put a lot of time and work in. That
Right,
was,
right.
a cheater tin, a regular tin, and a scoop. And it was fun and cool and like inventive. But like that's what I want to see because one, think about it. But if I were to drop any of that stuff behind the bar at any day of the week, am I going to lose my job over it? No, no. Am I going to lose a
Right.
job spinning it, flipping a jigger and losing it? No, I'm not. It's like, but
Mike.
that's what we can do more, and especially with craft cocktails.
Right. You've organized a lot of different competitions, and I only interrupt so that I could bring a question in from my Plantia journey. This is Tomo Sessions. He says, "Hey Mike, what was your timeline in producing competitions?" So he's hoping to design some competitions, and has. Give us some feedback on your
Um,
timeline.
it
Thank you, Tomo.
depends. Uh, depends on what you're trying to accomplish in the competition, how much money stuff you're trying to raise from sponsors. I mean, this competition that we're throwing in. So a little bit about what's coming up is like we're bringing back King of the Mountain here in Denver on May 9th.
May 9th.
It's going to be different from the other competitions we've thrown. It is going to have more of a craft cocktail aspect to it than previous ones. But this honestly came together already within like 2 weeks. So we're finishing up the rules, we're finishing up the sponsors, things like that. So typically it'll take, a couple months. Depends on, what you have at your disposal, who is helping you put these things on. You can ask these guys that have thrown comps before. If it's a one-man job, it takes some work, you know. Luckily, I have Brad, so me and him are getting stuff, cruising through a lot of things. But usually, I mean, it usually takes a couple months. Um, the other thing too is when you are throwing these competitions, you got to keep in mind the bartenders, because they're going to be
What's the
traveling.
location? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what's the location? I just want to give it to people.
Yeah, so it's going to be May 9th at Bierstadt Lager House in downtown Denver.
Bierstadt. The one thing I'm going to spell that. How do you spell that?
Bierstadt.
Wow, you put him on the
There, I think it
spot.
was the
Bierstadt.
that's this Bierstadt. STA. Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
Bierstadt, Denver,
Close.
Colorado.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Boom. There it is on the screen for us. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I wanted you to
it's
keep
close.
going. I guess I did mean to interrupt you because I did, but
But,
but yeah.
but more importantly, Mike, if someone wants to sign up for the competition or get more info about the competition, is there a website or somewhere they can go to?
Not yet. Well, we're finalizing the sponsors, but if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at unbroken.spirits. Just hit me up there, and I can answer any questions. Like I said, I want to make sure that we have all of our sponsors and everything lined up before I put out the rules. I know people are being very selective as to which competitions they want to go to, nowadays, and want to look at the rules first before they sign up. But if you do have any questions or you're interested, please let me know. It's gonna be a great comp. We got our judges lined up already, and I'm so stoked. We got Stevie P from Pittsburgh coming out to judge. We've got the one and only Robin Clausen is gonna be coming out to judge.
I
And
just
then
had
if
dinner with her
anybody's ever
last night.
did you? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
uh,
so excited to see her.
Yeah,
Like so
Robin
excited to have her
is
come
in
out.
Louisville right now, and I had dinner with her and Levi Donaldson last night, and of course Ashley Donaldson as well. So just as
Yeah,
you brought her up, that's
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Wills. If anybody's ever seen the show Bar Rescue, he's been on that show many, many, many times. So the man knows his stuff.
Is he
So I'm
competing?
super
He's
excited. Like we have a
judging.
good. He's judging. Yeah.
Nice.
So we have a heck of a panel of judges this year.
I'm trying to make it out, so crossing my fingers. And hopefully, you know what? Actually, Mike, between Rob and I, we have figured out that I can actually stream your competition from my office here, as long as there's somebody there or Rob's there with the cameras and whatnot. Just like we're doing
As
now
long as
with the
one
the
of us are
interview
there,
mode.
All right, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so instead of having the camera on you today, that same camera will be on the bar, and we could just do this interview mode wise. So we're excited to put this to the test. I've got another question for you from the crowd, if we can do that. You ready?
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Raul Bartender, the famous Raul Bartender, says, "Love you two guys." Question, Mike, do you think we need a new association of flair in Americas? Is there so many young people who would like to start and don't know? I didn't catch the end of it before it fell off.
Yeah, I caught the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tough one. Mainly because you'd have to have somebody running that like full time, right? Like it gets kind of hard to not have somebody doing that. If it's something that somebody wants to take on that like that endeavor to do that,
Right.
I think that's a good that's good. I think that's one of the reasons that the FBA stopped happening is just they didn't have enough time to keep doing all this stuff, to keep pushing these events and stuff like that.
It's an
I think that
expensive endeavor as well, right? Because you need to
it
get that
really
extra
is.
money
No,
coming in from the sponsors to pay for the expenses of the association, let alone the expenses of each comp.
yeah. I don't necessarily think there needs to be, but what I think needs to happen is there needs to be um more of a community and kind of acceptance that's going on now. I think that's really the big thing is to understand that this is how we're getting money for these big competitions. This is where we're gonna, I know you guys got some stuff in the pipeline. I've got a couple of other people telling me that they've got some really big stuff coming up in the pipeline, but that
We're excited to
that's
hear
going to take
about
a
it.
lot of that's going to take a lot of effort from all of us to say, look, like we things are changing for us to keep continuing these competitions and to keep flair from completely going extinct. Like we have to kind of like get together and accept that things are changing. um and honestly, the only way we do that is if we're backing each other up. This might not be your style of competition. This might not be, what you have spent your entire life doing. But if it's something that, somebody that is putting on and somebody that is trying to just keep things going, we should back them up. Like even if you don't go to that competition, just say, hey, these guys are throwing these competition. This guy is an awesome guy.
Right.
Dean and Rob are awesome dudes. Like invest in them too. Um, and that's the way that we keep those kind of things going and keep giving people opportunity to learn. Um, if you're
Well,
if you're if you want to throw like a I'm hoping we're trying to figure it out. I'd like to throw a functional flare class the day after the competition, where
right.
we don't like it's not necessarily for us, the people that have been doing flare forever. It's for people that are at the competition that we tell them, hey, tomorrow we'll teach you some of this stuff. Come in, come be a new person, come learn some stuff. And that's how we do it. Is we continue to keep that sense of community alive,
Right.
and we keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
So what do you say to if there happens to be a bartending competition where there's a mix-up in the rules or a mix-up in the judging or there's some numbers that go off or something like that? The FBA was put in specifically uh, to make it that the rules were the same across the board, and we knew that they were always the same. Do you think that we need a governing body for all these guys that have something in the pipeline, for all these guys that want to run bartending competitions? Do you think it makes sense for us to have an FBA style governing body that we can trust to run the rules to make sure that we don't have, so we don't have to go back after a competition and say, oh, sorry, we made a mistake?
See, one of those things though, it gets tough though. Like if you say every competition's the same, then I'm gonna go to
Maybe
sleep.
not the same, but
but that's what I'm saying. Like if you say that you have a set of rules and it's the same thing for all of them, well then all those competitions better line up to the exact same like way, like the same same amount, like same amount of
Right.
drinks, same amount of, like that's where things get kind of tough, and you don't have your that individuality that some of the competitions bring.
Right.
I
No,
think
I
that
love that
I
individuality.
think
What
that
I'm saying
we
is that as a competitor, I want to be able to trust that the rules have been thought through and that the judging has been thoroughly thought through and that there's a solid team of professionals on the judging panel. You know what I mean? So it's not just about the different styles, but do you think the governing body holds weight in having that there? Does that make
I
sense?
think yeah, I think we could get better about kind of like peer reviewing our rules.
Right.
I
Holding.
know with these competitions, I plan on you know talking to some people about like do these make sense on our competition. I think we one problem that we tend to do, and this goes from myself included. We've done this in the
Right.
previous comps. Is copy and paste rules. We take rules from one competition and then we put it in this competition, and then we play. But then you're basically just playing telephone with rules, and it's
Right.
just like, all right, well, by the time you get to your competition, the rules aren't really as clear as they should be, and then then it comes down to the judges, which I always the other thing I always tell competitors is you have to understand that rules are not interpreted by you; they're interpreted by the judges.
Right. And
So if
that's
you
the
have
point I'm
any
trying to get to.
questions, well, here's the thing: is like that's why we told everybody who our judges are right away. If you have any questions, it is on you to ask those questions.
Right.
I was like, if you get a test in school, you're not going to show up and be like, well, that's not what it says over there. You're going to ask ahead of time, like, hey, you know, this whole section doesn't make sense. All right, well, that makes sense. Like now, after
Right.
after you explain it. So that's
Do
one
you
thing. Is
think
like
there needs to
we
be
just we
one
have to
person
get
at the
better.
top of the judging group that we can talk to? Or do we just go in and ask the questions of all of the judges and say, hey, why did you score me like that?
The thing is, it shouldn't come down to that. It shouldn't
Right.
come down to the end of it. Like if you have a question about something, like that should be asked ahead of time, like far enough, like ahead of time, not like at the at the judges meeting, like a couple hours before the competition. Like ask that ahead of time. That's what they're there for.
Right.
We and that's that comes to if you want to ask, hey, why did you score me in this way? That comes down to you and that judge if they want to talk about it. To be honest, like
Right.
those judges, like I said, it is subjective. Like you think Olympic athletes are going to run over and ask the Russian judge what he thought about their thing? Like,
There always
no,
seems
that's
to be a
not going to happen.
controversy with Russia, doesn't
I
there?
don't know, I know. But that's the
And
thing. Is
I
like
100% agree.
these rules.
There's two things here that I like that we've talked about is yes, during the judges meeting, those are the times to ask the questions. We've had those judges meeting for a reason. You have any questions? This is the time. If not, this is how we're going to judge. This is the standard of what we're doing. And second is trifold. Whoever is judging a competition, you need to hold those judges accountable. So I'm all about being transparent and sharing the scores. And some people feel a certain way about putting their name to what they scored. I'm all about if I'm judging, hold me accountable for it because I'm putting my name to what that score is. And if you have any questions, ask me. So there needs to be twofold. There needs to be the understanding of, as a competitor, read the fucking rules because there's so many competitors that don't read rules. It's crazy. And the
Right.
second part is, I'm judging. Hold me accountable to what if I put a 58 out of 100, why I put that 58. There's nothing wrong with that because you're spending good money. You're spending countless hours of time in the backyard practicing that those people don't see. There's nothing wrong with that. But once the competition's done, then we move on. And it should be done. And when we get these good budgets, like we're trying to get back again, you have people in place where you can have administrators and adding the scores up and scoring programs and all this. And I don't want to go on a tangent. I'm just going on tangents right now. But at the same time, yes.
Honestly, two. I got two words for you: communication and transparency.
Yep.
That's you don't need a governing board if every competition you're communicating ahead of time and you're being transparent about everything. And that includes if you fuck up. If you fuck up, yeah, we fucked up.
Right.
We're gonna fix this.
Agreed.
There
Agreed.
you are.
To a point.
To a point.
Yeah.
I personally feel that we do need a governing body of some sort, so that when bartenders sign up to a competition and it says WFA on it or it says FBA on it, you know that the rules have been read over by professionals, and also that the judging, so many competitors or competition organizers copy and paste the rules, but they don't copy and paste the judging sheets.
Yeah, that's
And then they're like, oh shit, I need judging sheets. And then we've got bartenders running off to their iPads or their laptops to try to figure out how to make a judging sheet. And that's where I think sometimes when individuals run competitions, they miss things, So if it has a logo on it that says WFA or FBA on it, I'm going to be like, I trust that those guys have thought it through, and if not, they're going to make it right.
One
if
thing
we
that
can get to the point,
Go ahead,
go ahead.
No,
I
go
would say if we can get to the point where we can have like consistent competitions, because that's the problem, is there's just no consistency. Like,
Right.
I mean, honestly, I had no intention to throw a competition about 3 weeks ago. But like I said, I was like, screw it, let's see if we can get money, and then somebody said yes very, very quickly. So I was like, done. So if there's consistency, that is one nice thing that I will admit about having a governing body was being able to have that calendar where you knew plenty of time in advance and
Right.
you could schedule your stuff around other things. That makes more sense.
Right. That's a great thing about the body.
Yeah, the calendar does make a huge difference.
On top of that, like not only just scheduling, which was great, but the biggest thing towards the end that I respect about the FBA was the FBA certified judges. You had judges going to these events that went through hours and hours and hours of seminars of how to decipher originality, how to decipher variety, how to decipher difficulty, entertainment, and like these guys, when you knew you had at least one of those guys, if not two or three, in your judging panel, like it brought that credibility of like, as an organizer for me, I didn't have to worry about it. Like I love Mike McLean. Like anytime I brought him on as an FBI certified judge, not only could he come to the comps and I had that go-to judge, but more importantly, he was able to do a seminar and train the other judges how to be FBA certified, to be on the page. Like for that, if any FBA and the governing body was worth it for that, in my opinion.
Right. So, Mike, what's you've got a great event coming up in the King of the Mountain. Why King of the Mountain? And tell me the story behind the name of the King of the Mountain.
Oh man,
it's not King of the South. You're clearly not copying Aaron Pierce, right?
No. Aaron knows. We were the OG. Well, actually, no, we weren't. We weren't because King of the Ring was OG.
King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Hey, I was a competitor at King of the Ring. Thank you very much.
That was King of the Ring.
10th place.
Yeah, I was like, we're not even the OG. No, we just our first competition was a high altitude flare challenge.
Right.
Just love the name of it, and then just one day we were thinking about the next competition, and we were like, we got to call it something cool. And we were like, well, we're up in the mountains, so might as well, let's call it King of the Mountain. It was held at Lodo's Bar and Grill, which is no longer there. Now it's some fucking shitty Dirk Splantly bar. Sorry, I don't know if anybody likes Dirk's at Fort Dirk Splantly, but sorry.
Right.
But it used to be a dope bar, and like Coors Field used to be like right in the background, and then the other side was all the mountains. So it was like super like picturesque, and then we'd hold it like, right before dusk. So like as the
Right.
competition was starting, you get the great like view of the
Of
sunset
the
and stuff.
on the
So
mountain,
that's why
right?
we call it King of the Mountain. But
Will we
now
have views of the
we're
mountain for
bringing
this
back
one?
this one. No, unfortunately not.
All
This one's
right.
gonna be inside, but you're gonna get some you get to see some cool beers. So this competition, we're actually doing this in conjunction with the Colorado Bartenders Guild. So this one
Okay. Tell us
is
about that.
typically, yeah. So I've been a USBG member for quite some time. A lot of people that are working on this event are all been United States Bartender Guild member for a while. Rob is an OG USBG member from like 1901 or whatever it was from. I
Rob
forget.
has an
So,
official
but he's
title with the
yeah.
USBG, right, Rob? Rob, what's been your title with the USBG since 1862?
Oh my God, Jesus, really? So, very short story. 2013, founding president for the Palm Beach chapter.
There you go.
2013 point B, president of the Flair committee. And then as of a couple of weeks ago, the IBA liaison for Flair for between IBA and USBG. And
Nice,
we
nice,
some good stuff coming in the future.
nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you
So
there,
he,
Mike, but I wanted to be like,
no,
we've
no,
got
no,
an
no.
OG here, right? Let's hear his story.
No, I'd have to give him the shout out, but yeah, no. So honestly, I was talking to my friend who's on the panel up here, and we were talking about it, that we wanted to throw a comp, and I was like, hey, any good venues? And they're like, well, we actually have to push back our holiday party till May. It's like, would you guys be interested in doing it around the same time? I was like, let's do it. So every year, for their holiday party, they do the holiday hangover. They have anywhere from like 30 to 40 different liquor brands out there, showcasing some cocktails, showcasing their spirits, and it's free to all Colorado Bartenders Guild members and all registered USBG members. So if you're in the Colorado area, if you're in
Wow.
Denver, even if you're not a COBG member, this event is open to you. Then it is a ticketed event to the public. But there's like 30 to 40 different brands out there. And, every year they have some type of entertainment, be it
Right.
like, maybe some karaoke, a DJ, band, things like that. So we were like, hey, I got the perfect entertainment for you this year. I'm like,
So,
how about a bunch of Flair bartenders up there making some cocktails? And they're like,
if you've
done,
got your
let's do it.
USBG coin, I'm checking my pocket. I think I got mine. Yeah. You got your
Oh,
USBG coin in your pocket.
Oh,
That
there you
means you
go.
get in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're a USBG member, you get into this event. But it's super
Nice.
cool. They do it every year. Kind of a way to just blow some steam off. Um, Normally it's done, in January, but because of Omicron this year, they pushed it back. So we were like, man, like this is perfect. We can all we can throw down some stuff. We can everybody gets a chance to go try a bunch of different cocktails and we're working on getting some good sponsors lined up. So you might be able to even try some of the competitors' cocktails as well.
Cool. I would love to get to a point where we could actually taste the competitors' cocktails. I know Rob's done a few events where, and I've also seen some other USBG events where the bartenders would make their cocktails in batches. I would love to get to a point where we could do that. Mike, tell us a little bit about what got you into Denver. You're consulting for bars and restaurants now, right?
Yeah. So, after I moved to Las Vegas, I was there for about 8 years. Got into did Flair for a very very long time, and then unfortunately in I think it was 2019 on stage at Shake It Up at the nightclub and bar show, I blew my shoulder out, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna officially retire from doing Flair. Like I didn't
Okay.
want to get surgery at the time,
How did you throw
so
your
I
shoulder out? Was it a flare injury?
it was all of the above. I've played sports all my life, and then just years of putting everything I had into Flair, just it gave out. So this is a lesson to everybody that does flare. Make sure you take care of yourself, and I took care of myself. I worked out,
Right.
all the time, stretched, did yoga. I never start
Right.
like I treated practice like I practiced for baseball. Like I did about a 30-minute warm up before I even started doing any routines or anything like
Oh
that.
wow, good for you.
And just but it was just years of of work and stuff like that. And I was just like, what, I don't need to continue competing. I miss it a lot, so maybe one of these days. I just got my shoulder fixed, so who knows? Might
Good.
have to make a comeback. But
When did
so
it
what
come
I
back
ended up
to her?
doing is yeah, absolutely. So my need to compete found me doing cocktail competitions. And I was not very well versed in craft cocktails. I worked at a Guy Fieri's restaurant, so it was a lot of big drinks that you could find literally anywhere in Vegas. Lots of booze, lots of fruit juices. But I wanted to start learning some craft, so I started doing a couple. I did a couple of competitions here and there, and ended up made it to like the next round in all these competitions. So I
Right.
had to go and do these live and things like that. And I was like, man, this is fun. So then I started picking up books and started learning and started, reading and taking classes and taking certifications. And one thing after another, I'm getting certification after certification. I over the pandemic, I knocked out my W set in the Wine and Spirits Education Trust in both wine and
Okay.
spirits. I
That's
got
what the
my
W
certified
set
spirit
is.
specialist. Yeah,
Wow.
my CSS in spirits, which is like a very very rigorous um, exam that literally covers everything from every type of spirit. So I literally just started going after over everything. I got into bar five, which is the pinnacle of spirits education in the United States, if not the world. Um, they only take 60 students a year in New York, and it's taught by literally the foremost experts in our industry. Dale
Wow.
DeGroff, King Cocktail, um, John Picoult, um, Dave Runrick, literally the foremost expert on all things history in the cocktail. So I'm doing that this year. Uh, so like I transitioned into doing that. So that took me, decided to get out of Denver or to get out of Vegas. So I opened up a cocktail bar out here called Ghost Donkey.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving to Phoenix to open up a cocktail bar called the Mixologer out in downtown Phoenix. So
In
moving
Phoenix.
around,
So
creating cup
when
bar.
do you move
Yeah.
to Phoenix then?
And beginning of June.
Beginning of June. Okay, cool. So we've got a couple of months
Yeah.
for you in Denver. I'm looking forward to coming out and seeing you. And what's in Phoenix then? You've got another consulting gig, and tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I now work for this company called the Mixologer is the name of the
Right.
company.
The
We do both
mixologers. Cool.
the Mixologer. Yep.
Okay.
You can check us out online at themixologer.com, Facebook, Instagram, the Mixologer. We do so our thing is that we started up as a craft cocktail kit company. So one of the really cool things we did is during the pandemic, we started teaching online cocktail classes. So, throughout this whole time, I fell in love with teaching people, not just flair, but cocktails, all this stuff. Oh, thank you. Yeah, exactly. So we do craft cocktail kits. You can buy all of our kits online. We ship without the booze in it. But one of the really cool things we
There it
did,
is.
and that really helped us launch during the pandemic, was that we started teaching these online classes. And what we do is we ship out these kits to big corporations, Amazon, eBay, Salesforce, Pandora, all these big companies. And we would sit there and we would have a happy hour. It'd be an hour long, little session. We'd make a couple cocktails. We
So
would
this is
talk about
online then, right?
spirits and
You've like a
bartending.
Zoom call,
Yeah,
like a Zoom.
all through Zoom. So we started off, and I mean, like I've personally done over 200 and something classes over
Holy
the last like
crap!
18 months. Yeah, like it's wild. It's wild just how many of these I've done over the last basically 2 years. But there's so much fun, and it's literally probably my favorite thing. It kept me sane during the pandemic.
Well, I
Like,
went
no
crazy.
joke, I would have, because so I had never done anything like this before. I've taught classes in person, where I actually can, sit there and look at somebody, talk to somebody, pour them a drink, things this and that. I've never done it
Right.
online. So the first couple of ones take kind of getting used to, but then like we got in this like groove where it's like, this is like talking to somebody behind the bar. Like I made them a drink. Well,
Right.
technically they made the drink. Well, I made them a drink, and then we just start chit chatting. We talk about, what kind of spirits they like. We talk about, what are their favorite bars in their cities that they like to go to. It's so cool because like I get every time I do one of these events and I talk to somebody from a new city, I start just making a list of all these places I need to start going.
Right. So
So we
tell
started with
what's in
so
this
we so
ultimate old-fashioned box I've got up on the screen. Can you see that?
Yeah, so the Ultimate Old Fashioned box is really cool. So what we do is we kind of curate a couple of different whiskeys that we use in it. We mix and match some things that, some that are going to be some more like nationally recognized, brand recognized, and some stuff that really that isn't. Some little small craft things.
So those are
But
just
it is
1.5
it's
ounce bottles or 45 mil bottles?
so they're yeah, 50 mLs. So everything
50
comes in
ml.
little shooters. So you can try a bunch of different ones. Maybe try something, take the rest of it, make it into your old fashioned. But we give you all the kits. We sell bar tools on there as well. So we sell this really cool smoker set that pairs well with that clear ice maker. We're about to drop
Clear ice
a new
maker?
shit. Oh yeah, gotta have
There's a
that for your old
clear
fashioned.
ice maker? What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're about to
Is that the
we're about to
ghost
launch
one?
our no yeah, no, so it's I mean, we can get to the Sugar Teague in depth nonsense of how clear ice is made.
Oh yeah, I totally geek
But
out. I've been geeking out on that
I
for
do
like
too.
8 years,
I do
man,
too.
and I'm just like,
Yeah,
clear ice?
I'm one of
Sorry,
the,
I
I'm one of those people that still I have like a ton of clear ice makers in my fridge, but I still have
right.
that one the blue igloo cooler that I cut my own ice from.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I brought my own ice. I've actually done that in local
Yeah.
bars, and they're like, "Oh, Dean's here again." Yeah.
I think one of my favorite Flair stories of all time. I forget where we were, but if you guys know Jesse Perez from Michigan, I'm giving him a shout out. We went.
Nice.
I forget what competition it was. We all show up and we go to like BD's, like one of those like Mongolian barbecue things.
Oh, BD's Mongolian Grill. I
And
know it well. Yeah.
yeah, and he so we get there and he asked the bartender if they can make a mojito, and he's like, can you make a mojito? And they're like, no, we don't have any simple syrup. And he's like, it's okay, I brought my own. And we're like, literally opens his jacket, pulls it out, and it's like bartender's like, sorry dude, we don't carry mint. And then he's like, it's all right, I brought my own. And he pulls out a bag of mint and gives the bartender too. And then it was like, do you just walk around like prepared to make mojitos at all time?
Right.
So I don't know why I don't know why I just came up into my head, but that was a
All
funny
right,
story.
we
But
gotta
yeah,
start
no,
rolling. We
yeah,
gotta start rolling to an end here. But I want to roll this clip. It's 45 seconds. Let's see what happens.
I love the box. Ah, it's a great shot. Topo
yeah,
Chico.
we have some really cool stuff. So we ship all of our boxes to 43 different states in the United States. We can't ship it to the certain ones that don't accept alcohol. But I will tell you, one of the cool thing that we have coming up, that I am absolutely the most excited for, is this May we are going to drop the first ever uh, fresh cocktail kit. So no
Nice.
one else on the market is doing this. And what that's going to come in is you're going to get a refrigerated box that's going to have fresh ingredients. So fresh
Oh
herbs,
wow.
fresh fruit, vegetables, cold pressed juices, fresh flowers. So you'll make real bar quality cocktails And it's gonna be the first of its kind. We've designed this amazing system to keep everything cold, and we have some really cool cocktails. I wish I should have sent you a picture of some of the stuff, but like, I mean, the things that you would normally get at a bar, you can't really ship those, let alone like let them sit there, for that long. Like if I were to, if you were to get, some like orchids or something like that shipped to you, if you don't pick them up and refrigerate them right away, they're going to go bad. If you live in Arizona where it's 110, if that sits on your porch for, a couple hours, it's not going to be, it's not going to keep. So these new kits are going to be really cool. We'll be able to ship stuff
Excellent.
like egg whites. We'll be able to ship stuff like, aquafaba. So you're going to get some really cool stuff. And, we're hoping to
Nice.
partner with some really cool brands, with these kits too. So you'll get to taste some really cool, liquors and ingredients and stuff like that.
Great. Well, reach out to us over at Master of Mixes and Cocktail Essentials. Maybe we can help you guys out on that. Might be something cool for us to talk
Oh
about.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool, Mike. My drink is pretty much complete. I would love to keep this conversation going, but we're already into an hour and 20 minutes, and I've already seen you pour your drink multiple times as well.
Oh yeah. I'm on a couple.
Yeah.
Rob, have you got any follow-up last-minute questions for Mike here?
Um,
While I check the feed.
Questions? I think we're good on questions, but I have a closing comment when you're ready for that.
Yeah. Hit it, man.
Okay. So those that don't know, I think there's only one person in the world that would know where I'm at right now, and they're very special to me. I'm in the old Flareco.com office right now. I'm literally at my dad's house.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's nostalgic being in here. Like he's getting a new roof. There are a couple hurricanes hit here in Florida. So I'm clearing out all my stuff out of here. And in the last couple of weeks, by doing this, I've come across so many great things. One being my Legends of Bartending 6 Most Accurate Bartender in the World competition trophy, which
Wow.
is very neat.
Most accurate bartender in the world. We're here with an OG for sure.
The only trophy I took from Christian Delpesh, I will say that. Mike brought it up earlier. The first Shake It Up competition, I got my first time I competed with Dean Cerneals in this competition at the Nightclub and Bar Show.
Oh, there you go.
Nice. Was I emceeing it, or I must have been?
No, Dean, you were there. I don't know if you remember. I took a picture of you and I competing on stage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't. Yeah. I was drunk that year.
Importantly, the thing that we alluded at the beginning of the show to kind of tease and pay off at the end is the little tidbit, because every show we have great updates of what Dean and I are working on, but this update is, I can share, is in June is the next Bar Wars LOC competition. The tentative dates, I'm gonna look this up real quick, are going to be June 6th and 7th, that Monday and Tuesday. And it's going to be a competition, a separate competition for accuracy, first, second, third. Another competition for speed, first, second, third. Another competition for flair and mixology as a bartending competition, first, second, and third. And another competition for Dean. You know what? We're going to tease him on that. I'm not going to tell him that, but this involves Dean a lot in that fourth category. And then an overall champion as well. So there's 5 ways to win money in this competition. But
just tell us, man. Tell us what it is. Don't save it for me. Just tell us what it is.
All right, game on. The Flareco Freestyle. We're going to bring back what Nicholas St. John did so many years ago and did it amazing. Have 8 bartenders pitted up against each other, one-on-one, with nothing but Flarecos, cocktails, drinks, knocking out cocktails in a freestyle breakdancing bartender battle to knock out an overall champion.
No bar, no cocktails, just the bottles.
Whether you're good in accuracy or you're an overall bartender, you can win money in this competition. It's going to be amazing. And more importantly, on top of all that, in the Flair Mixology round, whoever finishes in first is going to be representing the United States
Oh,
in
wow.
the USBG IBA World Cocktail Championship. Whoever finishes in second is going to represent the United States for the USBG for the Pan American Games.
Wow.
So it is now
I
in
I'm not
Germany.
I'm not gonna get into the rules because I haven't finished writing them. But I will let you know that I am designing these rules to reflect the IBA competition because I think that we should start looking more into preparing anybody that wants to compete at that level for these competitions. So I will say that
Gotcha.
it's not going to be IBA rules, but they're being written with the IBA in mind. So
I
for
love
those of
that,
you guys that want to
guys.
compete at both of these competitions, my competition's probably or our competition. Sorry, Brad, he's gonna fucking kill me if I say that. Our competition is definitely a good one to come warm up at before you hit
Right.
and try and get to the number one spot at Bartender Bash.
Good. I love the fact that you guys are working to elevate each other's events and the craft. So
Definitely go to King of the Mountain because I'll be there in one form or another, cheering everybody on, if not putting a camera on and maybe commenting fun things. But
right.
on top of what Mike said is the day before during the meet and greet, we're going to have a special seminar on that Sunday with none other than Papa Doble, Julio Cabrera, teaching IBA techniques to not only class bartenders,
Ooh.
but flair bartenders the day before you qualify and compete to perform better in the IBA World Cocktail Championship. Julio is an amazing guy. I've learned so much from him. And this is going to be.
And then we're going to Cafe La Trova afterwards.
I was just there 2 days ago, and I'm in.
I know. I saw it. Yeah, I saw. Jealous.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. So it's a great partnership between USBG and Bar Wars, and really looking forward to where it's going. But more importantly, it's bartenders all pushing each other to become better and represent the United States. And I will say this, it all started with Colby Ashton winning a medal for the United States last year for the first time since I can remember, where we won a medal in Flair at the American Games. And Colby, well done.
Yeah. Colby Ashton.
I think my shoulder might be better by June. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, rip it out. All of my moves, I could probably do the King of the Ring routine that I did back in 2004, but that's where my flair stopped, right there. So, guys, I am so excited about moving into the future of flair bartending and cocktail making and bartending / cocktail / flair competitions, whatever those names become. I'm super excited about moving into the future of those with both of you guys. I'm hoping that you're both going to stay along for the ride. I've been behind bars now for 34 years. I like to say I would have got out on good behavior had there been any. But most of that, 20 plus years have been flair bartending, and it's really where my heart is. Rob and I have some big stuff going. Mike, you've got some big stuff brewing right now. You shared a lot of it with us today, and we're super excited about supporting all of your efforts and sharing them on Cocktail Network Live, as well as all of our other platforms. More to come on that soon. But thank you very much for joining us. Mike, have you got some last comments before I roll the last piece of video here that you don't know about?
No, thank you guys very, very much. Please, anybody reach out to me at unbroken.spirits on Instagram if you're interested in competing. If you don't already, have my info on Facebook or anything like that. Hopefully we'll have everything finalized this week. So if you do have questions, if not, again, if you're a USBG or COBG member, please come check out the King of the Mountain competition at the holiday hangover USBG party. Please take a peek at the stuff I'm doing at the Mixologer on Facebook and Instagram. If you're in the Phoenix area, we're opening that new bar right in Roosevelt, right on Roosevelt in the Arts District. And then check out the new fresh kits that are coming up, because you'll get to see a lot of my creations on there. So I'm doing all the cocktails for those. So, but yeah, thank you guys, and can't wait to see you soon.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been so great doing a bunch of Rob's events and having you at them and just catching up and restarting this community of flair bartending. I know it never really died, but trying to refuel it, if you will. All right, so I am looking at Shake It Up 2019, hosted by Mr. Rob Husted, and that's all I'm gonna say. As I run this thing out, it's like 8 minutes long, so I'm gonna go, go to the bathroom and stuff while this thing's running. But love you guys, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Great having you on the show. We'll probably have you back sometime in the future when you do some more incredible stuff. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers to the empty glass. There's another one in my future, I think. Rob, we'll chat tomorrow with our next conversation, which will be in a future episode of One Drink With. Rob, take us out for our next episode of One Drink With, which is probably going to air in April because of some travel stuff. But I want Rob to introduce this before I go to Mike Guzman at Nightclub and Bar.
So we're teasing this. Okay, I didn't know we're teasing this.
Teasing it. Tell it up, man.
The next One Drink With, we're going back, OG. We're going back to the roots of flair bartending, and we're going with John J.B. Banding. He's amazing and just.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Dean? I'm
John Bandy. If anybody's watching doesn't know who you're talking about, John Bandy is the TGI Fridays bartender that won the national competition and went on to teach Tom Cruise in cocktail, which really lit the fire behind all of this. Sorry, Rob. Go.
Hippie shake.
What's that, Mike?
The hippie shake. He did it. Yeah, I got to see him do it.
Yeah, 2010.
Yep. I remember that.
For me, was amazing. Like there was a lot of mentors in my life, but from when I first started training, there was Scott Young, there was Chuck Rome, there was a Legends of Bartending video, and there was the John J.B. VHS video of Olympic bartending,
right?
Which implemented my direct flair. So I'm looking forward to it, talking more of that conversation.
Yeah. John B. Bandy and Mike Mezcal, who was the what he claims to be the first flair bartender on the planet, was also in the Olympic bartending video. So,
and Mike Tenders.
Was he in the video?
I want to say yes, but now I'm going to go back and watch it because now I'm so curious.
All right. So that's one of the big events that we've got coming up. Rob and I have been working so much on so many different things, as well as Mike's events and Mike's projects. Mike, I'm super excited to hear about your buddies and what they're doing, what they've got in the pipeline, as you say. The world is opening up, and the world is excited about flair bartending again, and just hope to move it forward.
Keep your fingers crossed. I'll be a part of it with the thing that they're working on. But keep your fingers crossed because it might be the biggest competition you guys have seen in probably 20 years.
Ooh. All right. Well, we're going to be there to live stream it for you guys. We'll be live streaming it on Cocktail Network Live, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Cool beans, guys. All right, I'm going to roll this out. Nightclub and Bar Convention 2019 Shake It Up competition with Mike Guzman as the competitor and Rob Husted as the MC. All right, we're going to go to 0 after this, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Please leave a comment. Please drop something in the like and subscribe and all that crap. You know what you're supposed to do. You're on YouTube. Like and subscribe, for crying out loud. We love you guys. Mike, thank you very much again. Cheers. And
Cheers,
Rob,
boys.
we'll talk to you tomorrow, man. Love it. Here we go. Come on.
I actually haven't seen this
play.
video since I could.
Can you see it?
If it's the video, I think
Yeah.
I haven't seen this video since I competed. Oh my God,
Can
it
you
is
get the
video.
audio, Dean?
Is it in?
If not, Mike will give us the play-by-play. Let's do this. Dean, can you go to full screen and Mike will give us the play-by-play?
I'm working on it.
No, yeah, you have to have the music though. Oh no!
Wow,
that's
something just
literally the
happened
best
to my
part.
stuff here.
And this
creepers.
is a live broadcast.
Can you hear that?
No. But we can see it.
All right, you're going to have to give us a play-by-play.
I don't know if I want to. This is the competition I blew my arm out in. I will tell you.
What was the rum?
I will tell you.
What was the rum you were pouring?
It might have been Plantation.
I
will tell you, I did have the best cocktail in this competition though.
Nice.
But like the music is what makes the whole thing. Because I did a Guardians of the Galaxy theme.
Yeah.
Show. So it was like Guardians. It was Guardians. Yeah, so it's like a Guardians of the Galaxy themed. Man, I wish I had the music. I know it started off with Jackson 5. There's some Cheap Trick.
Yeah, it was Jackson 5. I can hear it, but you guys can't, and I don't know how to get you to hear it.
Oh man.
You'd have to change audio from microphone to internal. That's that. But I don't know if you can do that in the middle of a broadcast. Or maybe Dean, if you unmute your computer laptop and just play audio, it might work. Nice.
On my side, it gives a little option to switch it, but that's mine. I actually haven't seen this routine since I did it.
We played this at the last competition during the meet and greet. We played all these, so it's crazy to see this come again.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yes. Dude, I wish they would do that comp again. Like, it was a good venue, the Nightclub Bar show. There was a lot of obstacles to trying to make that happen between getting the judges there and all the competitors there and everything. But for the most part, like the exposure and everything, like it was good for the brands.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the sound up, guys. I can't figure out why it won't play. Can you guys hear me, though?
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I remember being so excited when your Guardians of the Galaxy movie came on, or soundtrack came on. I'm like, yes, it all makes sense now.
Oh, yeah.
All my tiki mugs were Guardians of the Galaxy characters. Like my cocktail name was I Am
Who's that
Groot.
down there?
What's that?
Oh, I thought that was the bar back on stage. Ooh. That's his competitor standing there.
Was that Harry?
Yeah, I think Harry's bar backing for you.
Yeah, I think it was Harry and I think Lorenzo.
Yeah, maybe that's who it was.
I'm so sorry I can't get the sound on for you guys. I have no idea what's going on with it.
Such a tease, Dean, but we love you for it. Oh, look at that, 3 bottles.
Look at that 3-bottle juggle. Oh, with an axe thrown in there.
And then this competition was the same way of what most of the competitions are going to now, because that's what seems what the sponsors are wanting is it was judged on 50% flair and 50% mixology. So you see the dedication to like making a good cocktail while entertaining on stage.
Yeah, I think I can tell. I forget what exact point I ended up hurting my shoulder, but like my 3 bottle juggle was simple. Like I just heard it right before,
It's a 3 bottle juggle, man.
but I
It's
finished
really
my
not
routine.
that
I
simple.
finished my routine. That's all I care. I made sure my cocktail was made, all of them on time, and took first place in the cocktail.
There you go. Just because you finished them. Look at that handsome guy on the microphone. Gosh.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember who was Flair. I want to say it was Dario. Dario Domo was the
it was
main Flair judge. 2 other judges, I can't remember who they were. So we had like great
it was
qualified Flair judges.
Dario, Anthony Alba,
Yes,
and
Paisan.
Oh, Anthony Alba.
one more. I forget who the other one.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we had separate mixology judges, blind judging in the back, which was great because they didn't know who was going, and they would just taste the cocktails and judge them. And I've always felt so bad for those people because they would be in a room for, we've all run bartending competitions, for 6 hours in a room,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
cocktail, not knowing what's going on. So I always felt the worst for them, but they did a great job judging mixology as well as the front of the house doing flair.
Right. Well, I mean, come on. You felt bad for them, but there was 5 people stuck in a room being fed cocktails for 4 hours. You know?
And
Yeah, remember that job you had at the bank that one time? All right. So, hey guys, thank you very much. We got to wrap this thing up. I love you both. It's been such a great ride with both of you, and I hope we have another 20 years together.
Cheers to that.
Mike, closing thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, bring us out to a close
No,
here, Mike.
yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you guys, and I look forward to the stuff we're all gonna do. Keep pushing, people to want to learn flair, and just keep pushing the sport, and hopefully more people want to get up on stage and have some fun throwing things around, and making some good drinks, and I'll leave you with my own personal saying that I like to leave the classes that I teach with. Drink what you want, drink how you want it, and don't let anybody tell you different. Cheers.